Good evening, viewers. What a day it's been. The NDA has swept back to power in Bihar as the Modi-Nitish combo lead the alliance to a landslide victory. The NDA managed to cross the 200 mark, leaving only around 30 seats for the Mahagatbandhan and others. Today, as NDA secures a majestic mandate, many are highlighting the success of NDA's coalition arithmetic. The most defining aspect of the NDA's victory is the manner in which the Modi-Nitish combination managed to breach the MY fortress of the RJD or the Muslim-Yadav vote bank that has traditionally voted for the RJD. This time, Modi says that the definition of MY has now been modified and that the old MY appeasement formula has been replaced by the Mahila Youth Empowerment formula of the NDA. This is something the Prime Minister reiterated once again at the BJP headquarters as the NDA celebrated their emphatic Bihar victory.
एक पुरानी कहावत है, लोहा लोहे को काटता है। बिहार में कुछ दलों ने तुष्टीकरण वाला MY माय फॉर्मूला बनाया था, पर आज की जीत ने एक नया सकारात्मक MY माय फॉर्मूला दिया है और ये है महिला और यूथ।
But how exactly did the BJP and the NDA manage to actually enter the traditional MY or the Muslim-Yadav areas? Let's take a look at the numbers, and just numbers tell you a story of what exactly has happened. This is the Muslim cluster, and this is a cluster in which JVC Muslims are present over 20%, right? 20% seats.
Yeah.
And in these, the NDA this time round has increased its tally by 12, while the MGB, the tally has come down by 12 as well. In terms of vote share, they've added plus 5.45% of votes, whereas MGB has lost 3.47 votes over here. Look at the Yadav cluster, and this is a little bit more interesting in terms of number of seats, of course, far more, 21 seats over here, MGB reducing by the same number of seats, but you look at the vote share, it's 5.48%, almost similar to what we've seen over here, but look at the vote share change over here, it's just 0.44%. What explains this disparity, JV?
So, see, if you look at the Muslim cluster, one seat I would like to take an example is Thakurganj.
Right.
Thakurganj, JDU has won with an Hindu candidate, Gopal Agarwal, because he was an SP MLA in 2005. He contested as an independent when JDU fielded a Muslim candidate in 2020, and he got 29%. And now 36% he has got, and he has won. And Kamandal politics is clearly seen in these constituencies, which have more than 25%.
Kamandal politics is seen over here. JVC Sriram, of course, a political strategist here in the studio, but also joining me in the studio right here, Sabha Naqvi, senior journalist. We have Sanjay Jha, political analyst, who's with us, and author. We have Dr. Anand Ranathan, author, who's with us. Radhika Khera is the national spokesperson of the BJP. Let me come across to you first. Sanjay Jha, you know, just take a look at these numbers, and these numbers tell you a story. Even in the traditional formations such as Muslim-Yadav, which have helped the RJD, it works in other states as UP, where it's helped the Samajwadi Party. Even in these traditional bastions, the NDA has breached, and it's breached it across social segments. What really explains this tsunami in your view?
I think I'm going to give you a very dispassionate appraisal here. I think the voter is basically saying that if the MGB, Mahagatbandhan, was seen as very centric on the Yadav and the Muslim vote, then the non-Yadav, the non-Muslim voter constituency consolidated for the other side. It's a very straightforward arithmetic that end of day, if any voter today feels that X party is going to concentrate on some people who will be the biggest beneficiary if they come to power, then they might feel ostracized or marginalized. So then they look at the other alternative as a safer.
So counterpolarization. Counterpolarization is his theory. Do you agree with that? Is that the only theory? Because there could be another way of arguing this. The other way of arguing this, given that we're seeing this happening across social segments, is that Modi has appealed to segments such as women, which cut across caste divides. There's also, the many other factors which, could explain this, cutting across class, cutting across social classes phenomenon. Dr.
Well,
Anand.
there would be, good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Congratulations to the NDA for a spectacular win, and to JVC for predicting the trend. Fantastic. Look, what Sanjay is saying has some credence, but in my opinion, personal layman's opinion, limited credence, and I'll tell you why. Of course, in the coming days, people will do survey to find out where actually Muslims voted. We're just looking at the block.
Right.
But even at the block, through my calculations, there are 23 constituencies that are more than 42% Muslim population. And out of that, 14 have been won by the NDA, 8 by the BJP. You can say, as JVC is saying, that in this very high Muslim population constituencies, the Kamandal politics has won, so there's been consolidation. That would become clear when we find out what was the percentage of Muslims who voted to which party. But the fact that JDU has won, I think kind of blunts that Kamandal consolidation as well, because it tells you in many that are 68% Muslim constituencies, 2 have gone to JDU. Now that can only happen if the Muslims have not voted, as one batch, and they haven't.
Okay.
So, I think that tells you the beauty of this election, that I think people decided once and for all, as the theme of the thing is, let's not go by caste. Yes, caste plays a huge factor, but let's look at the other things that this government or coalition has achieved.
Okay, Sabha, how do you explain this? It's not just the Muslim cluster, it's the Yadav cluster. One would imagine that this is a vote that is strongly there with the RJD.
So
that's not happening.
So first of all, I've been saying it through the day, even before the result, that the Yadavs were split. It was split, and I think JVC was there. I told Navika even before the results started to come in, there was always a division, and that the idea of the Yadav being a full block has changed. It is an aggressive caste which owns land, which wants to be near those who are in power. It is not one of the labor which is moving all the way. They need access to power. There are many aspects.
What's caused the split? Because of large number of candidates that NDA has fielded, or there's other reasons?
It's been happening for a while. It happened even last time. Is that, look, you've got to realize that they've not been in power for 20 years, actually. There was one black swan occasion when Nitish and Lalu fought together, and they swept it. And tomorrow it happens, it will happen again in the same way. But it's not right now. So both those individuals are fading in their own way. So one is that. But beyond caste, I do believe, as happened in the state of Tamil Nadu, the Dravida politics begins with caste only, right? Excluding the upper caste. It begins with caste, but it is about welfareism, schemes, ADMK, DMK will all be giving a lot of things. Once you get into that, then obviously all parties have castes in India, core caste, but you start cutting across castes. And I think that the whole model of elections, after the stunning setback that the BJP faced in 24 in the Lok Sabha, they have changed that. And what is happening, unfortunately, with the opposition is that, yes, electoral malpractice, votes, EVMs, they are all important issues, but you have to have a narrative of what you're going to give the people in an age when you know that the NDA and the BJP are going to offer concrete things in their hand. And I don't think they're willing to accept that. So DMK is a different cup of tea. They'll operate, or even Mamta is a different cup of tea. Of course, this kind of thing generates. But if you don't accept that, and if you just reduce it, hypothetically, I'm a villager in Bihar. Somebody comes to me and says, vote chori, vote chori, vote chori. What are they giving me?
Exactly.
And my vote is intact, and I love it. I love it.
There has to be something that connects with the viewers and captures their imagination. That's a fair point. Radhika Khoeri also with us. Radhika, just stay on, because I'm going to very quickly bring in the next set of data that we are going to be discussing here. And before I go across to Radhika, let's look at this. Dalits backing Modi-Nitish duo. Let's look at the seats over here. The addition, the difference has been 24 seats. The change in vote share is about 7% for the NDA. The MJB just goes down by about 0.164%. Where is the rest of this 5.5%, 5.4% gone?
Some would have gone to BSP. Okay. Because BSP had fought well in 2 seats. And I don't know whether they're won in 1 seat or not. And some could have gone to the independents. And maybe, now that you're seeing it, only 3% has gone to votes gone to Jan Suraj. sections might have gone even to Jansuraj. Because one thing is very clear, which means Jatav vote, Ravidas vote has moved towards NDA.
Okay.
This is going to be a tipping point. Because
So not just the Paswans, but also the Jatavs.
Jatav also was, because Jatav probably, once the biggest beneficiary of Jatav voters would have been JDU.
Okay.
Because they would have gone to JDU. Paswan, yes, they are there. Then the Mushar, Manji and all is there. So that's a very important thing. And this is probably a very important point as far as Bihar politics is concerned.
Let me bring in Radhika Khera. Radhika Khera, what we are discussing today is what, of course, the Prime Minister said, the redefinition of Muslim-Yadav, but not just Mahila and Yuva, but also the traditional sense of it. Muslim-Yadav, that's one area where the NDA has done well. We're talking about Dalit votes as well now, where in fact the NDA has performed remarkably well, cutting across various social groups. Are we looking at a situation where the traditional caste arithmetic does not matter much? Or are we looking at a situation where all the caste calculations have been worked out to the T by the BJP? What is your analysis, Radhika?
Good evening to everyone. And I'd like to take this moment to thank the people of Bihar for giving us this victory and believing in Narendra Modi's leadership and giving us this mandate, which till now I have not been able to understand. It's phenomenal. Having said that, I think Bihar has voted beyond caste and religion this time. Bihar, all women, all youth, farmers, everyone has forgotten what caste they belong to, what religion they belong to, which is why we have this mandate here today. Congress stands decimated. They tried to play the card, like Prime Minister said, of MMC, Maoist Musalman Congress. Wo sab dekh rahe hai. It is a fact. Congress is only bothered about Muslim votes. They don't give a damn about any other religion. And there is no problem that you do. Everyone should work for every religion, but you cannot just provide, bank on one vote bank. And they tried, the main thing that has actually happened here is the politics of hatred. The politics of trying to burn the country has been given a befitting reply in this election.
All right.
And the women have come out and voted against the Jangal Raj. Every time there's an election in Bihar, the memories of Jangal Raj come alive. And chahe apni nani dadi se suna ho, mother se suna ho, the young generation today also does not want to live through what their older generations have lived through.
At least two factors. So at least two factors that you mentioned. One is women voting, which of course again is a factor beyond caste, as you mentioned earlier. Jangal Raj, which the Prime Minister invoked, which the BJP invoked, is also a big threat because it's still fairly fresh. It's just 20 years ago that you had Lalia on ground.
Madhav, I'm glad she mentioned that. In fact, I agree with Sabha completely. That's the narrative where I feel Mahagatbandhan lost the election. Because they went on and on about Jangal Raj. And look at the poor political communication of the Mahagatbandhan. I need to be honest about it. 20 years ago, it was voted out on Jangal Raj. Right now, crime... The current government...
The fact is, in the phase one was over.
Yeah.
After phase one was over, on Sunday, Tejasvi comes out of the video countering
exactly my point.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly my point. If you look at the data, NCRB data tells you that Bihar is 81% rise in crime after 2010. Number 2 in murders, number 2 in crime as per NCRB. There has been tons of violence against women.
No,
and the Gadbandhan did not
maybe so, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
The Anand Singh affair.
It was Mahajangal Raj under the BJP.
The Mokama, what happened in Mokama, it happened while I was there. That shooting of that Yadav character.
And he's still behind bars.
And he still went. The point is that the Mahagatbandhan did not jump on it. There was a moment for counterpolarization. They did not jump on it. Look at this. A Yadav gets shot. Of course, he was also a thug. But that's neither here nor there. You had the specter of a Bhumihar, a Chote Raja, which goes against, the whole idea of feudal.
They could have flipped the Jangal Raj narrative, but they just lost the opportunity.
When Gopal Khemka shot in Patna, it did not become the big story.
They just didn't go with the right narrative.
Just poor communication or more than that?
No, but at the end of the day, this always happens. You can pick up anecdotes, you can pick up incidents, but if you look at it in totality, then you realize that Bihar stands 15th in the ranks amongst the states with the highest crime rate per lakh population. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that it is Bihar of today is not the Bihar of the 1990s, but Sabha made a very important point. And I think that somehow we, all through the day, we missed it. Vote chori, go to everyone, say vote chori. You know what the voter says? ठीक है, vote chori हो रही है. What should I do? Shall I vote or shall I not vote? Tell me.
Vote chori એટલે तुम क्या दे रहे हो?
मुझे क्या मिल रहा है? That's a great point.
You should do. I believe, have Mr. Yogendra Yadav, have other people work on the electoral rolls. Prepare your rolls properly. Make sure your voters are registered.
I want to ask another question relating to the Dalit vote, because Rahul Gandhi talks about hissedari, jitya abadi utta haq, proper representation of, IAS officers, secretaries to government of India mein Dalits kitne hain. All of these are questions that he asks. But yet when it comes to, actual votes on ground, and of course you have Mr. Kharge, whose Dalit identity is not hidden from anyone. Yeah. But why is it that the narratives that Rahul Gandhi tries to set don't work on ground? And that too in a sensitive, politically sensitive state such as Bihar.
You know the kind of violence that has happened against Dalits. We know what happened in Raebareli. We know about the IPS officer in Haryana, the throwing of the slipper at the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India. There are narratives that you need to build and take it down to the grassroots level. I keep coming back to the point. In a campaign, the core is how you communicate your politics. And I think Mahagatbandhan's biggest problem, and I'm astonished as to how they allowed the Jangal Raj of 20 years to stick. By that logic, Tejasvi will never become a chief minister, because in the next election, they will again bring back the Jangal Raj spectre.
But you know why,
Where does it end?
Because 65% of the candidates that were chosen by JD were actually having serious criminal charges. Now, of course,
BJP as well.
Yes. But then do they expect BJP and Tejasvi to be the same or Tejasvi to be better?
You know the reason why? I'll tell you how it was working.
No, but at the end of the day, as far as SC
I'll tell you how
is
it
concerned, one important thing is the SC of Bihar is one of the poorest in the country. And when you have direct benefit transfer and money reaching the women and basic facilities
10,000 rupees.
Yes, that makes a big impact.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It's a big impact. 10,000 is not a small amount as far as Bihar.
Radhika, it's the 10,000 dole that has really worked on ground, says JVC. You agree with him?
Only Dalit votes.
Two things I want to point out here.
One by one. Let Radhika come in. Yeah.
Two things I would like to respond to over here. Let's start with the 10,000 rupees. I'm appalled at how half the people, and I've been seeing this all day today, everyone from the Congress to the RJD has been saying, "Arey 10,000 mein," and Sanjay Raut has gone on to say, he's even tweeted a poster. They are trying to imply that the women have sold their votes. It's shameful. Why are you not talking about the LPG cylinders that are in the houses of Bihar women? Why are you not talking about the toilets that have been made for them? Why are you not talking about the Jangal Raj that they're not living through? Sabhaji has been here longer than I have. And so has the Congress unofficial spokesperson, whoever Mr. Sanjay Jha is. They are much older than me. They have seen the times of the Jangal Raj when women could not step out of their house in Bihar after 2 p.m. And yes, that will be reminded forever, because that is the same party with the same lineage and the same mentality. How can we forget how Rabri Devi pulled her daughter-in-law's hair and threw her out of the house? How can you forget Aishwarya? How can you forget what they've done to their own family? A party which could not keep their own family together. They're talking about keeping Bihar, and I'm glad that you're talking about ye hua Jangal Raj mein wo ki ab yahan pe crime बढ़ रहा है. Please, let's talk about other states also जहाँ crime बढ़ रहा है, and yet you people keep quiet. आपको सिर्फ बिहार दिख रहा है because you have been decimated over there. The entire narrative, and let me also tell Mr. Sanjay Jha, he said that they have not been able to put the message across. भाई साहब, इससे ज़्यादा क्या करोगे? राहुल गांधी तो मोटरसाइकिल पे घूमे थे. मोटरसाइकिल पे आज तक इतिहास है 2014 से माधव. जो राहुल गांधी की मोटरसाइकिल पे बैठा है वो गड्ढे में गिरा, और इस बार उस नदी में गिर गए जहाँ पे वो मछली पकड़ने गए थे.
Okay. Okay,
Madhav, I mean, she's free to make all her jibes. Here is the important point, okay? 10,000 bucks being given, and look at the timing. The SOP is announced. Madam, I didn't interrupt you. Let's have a graceful conversation. You just
let him make his point.
It's all right.
His name. It's only fair that he responds. We have time. We have a lot of time.
Don't be so acerbic. You just won an election. Show some grace. I know it doesn't come inherently to you guys, but try. Now, here is my point, Madhav.
No personal comments. Let's not make it. You don't want personal comments on that side. You also should be.
So, Madhav,
let's keep it civil, please.
Yeah. So, Madhav, the core point. Madhav, the core point is that look at the timing. The SOP is given during the time of the elections and put into people's bank accounts. It can't be more blatantly tactical. It can't be a more brazen exhibition.
But what did Tejasvi promise?
of vote
One second. Did Tejasvi, what did he promise? Did he promise
30,000 on Sankranti Day?
So, on the principle of it, it's not like MJP hasn't done it.
See, I think one second. Right from the time Nitish Kumar came to power in 2005, these Jivika Didis, they've been empowered. Now, here is an attempt by a government to create women entrepreneurs. I do not know how many of them are going to succeed. And he also says that if you set up
2 weeks before an election.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But is it beneficial to people? Is it beneficial to people?
Bihar is
your poor Dalit family gets 10,000. Are you happy about it or are you sad about it?
Okay, can I answer that? I'm glad
are you happy about it or sad about it?
Okay, let me answer. You know, this money is going to come out of the capital outlay of Bihar for which they are borrowing money. So it's basically the borrowing money.
So when they do it in Telangana, when they do it in Himachal Pradesh, when they do it in Karnataka, it is okay. It is not okay when you do it in Bihar.
I'm telling you, the fiscal math is irrational. And again, Bihar.
That's the same thing for guarantees, sir. That's the same thing for guarantees.
Karnataka
and I'm against all the parties, but you are not against Congress giving donations.
No. I'm just saying the timing is very blatantly political.
You are fine with
it is a vote kharidi, boss.
Look, you are fine.
It's a vote kharidi.
Okay, let him respond. Let him respond to you. Let him respond.
You are fine with Graha Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi schemes of Telangana, of Karnataka, 2,500 rupees per month to every woman. Delivered. What do you mean announced? It's been 2 years.
Exactly.
It's not been delivered in Karnataka?
It has been delivered. That is my point.
Yes.
But this is not like 1 week before an election.
No, but look,
difference.
8 lakh crores is the debt of Karnataka.
You're manipulating a voter.
You're manipulated the voter. Let Radhika respond to that. Radhika, this is nothing but voter manipulation, says Sanjay Jha, when it comes to the 10,000 rupee dole. Your response?
Madhav, let me remind Mr. Sanjay Jha, who is giving me sermon here, he could not practice self-discipline, which is why he was thrown out the Congress party. But he is not the issue here. So 30,000 रुपए इनको दिखाई नहीं दिए क्योंकि 30,000 रुपए थोड़ी ऑफर किए थे. तेजस्वी ने तो ये टॉफी मेलेडी की ऑफर करी थी महिलाओं को, इसीलिए आपको वोट नहीं मिला. 30,000 रुपए समझते हैं ना कितने होते हैं? क्या कहा था हिंदी में, इसलिए बता रही हूँ क्योंकि आपको इंग्लिश शायद समझ नहीं आ रही है ढंग से मेरी. हिंदी में इसलिए समझा रही थी और तेजस्वी ने यही बोला था 30,000 रुपए हमारी सरकार बनते ही आ जाएंगे. क्या हुआ? I will again, I am going to take offense to the fact that everybody is talking about that महिलाओं का वोट बिक गया माधव. We made sure that those women पहले सशक्त बनाने का काम किया. Before 18 years. Let's talk about Nitish Kumarji's governance. Isn't he the person? Bihar is the first state which gave...
The last set of graphics and last set of communities we're looking at. Radhika, just a moment. Let's quickly bring in the last set of communities, and this is the Khoeri caste and the Bhumihar caste we're talking about. What happened over here? It's a 19-seat difference. The MGB lost 18, NDA gets 19 of these seats. The vote change is 5.65% for the NDA. For the MGB, it's minus 1.59. When it comes to Bhumihar's, a caste that was already fairly strongly with the NDA, but here also the number of seats has gone up. 12 seats as far as the NDA is concerned, loss of 12 seats as far as the MGB is concerned, 7.52%, minus 1.63%. What exactly is happening? Because everywhere we go, every segment we go, JVC, what I'm not able to understand, yes, like you mentioned BSP when it comes to the Dalits, is it, for instance, Prashant Kishore that has made a difference? Has the numbers and the vote share of others come down? Where is all these votes which are missing?
Bhumihar's particularly, if you look at it, last time it was 50-50. Now this time, NDA has taken a huge advantage.
It's a clean sweep.
It's a clean sweep. It's also a guilt vote because some of them have not voted for Modi G in 2024. It's a guilt vote. Khoeri, it's both the communities you're talking about here or communities who have received those welfare. Because see, I have heard people saying ration diya, cylinder diya, toilet diya, or 10,000 rupiye diya. So should I vote for Modi or should I vote for somebody else?
The guilt vote. This is very interesting. The guilt vote is now this theory that we are hearing a lot of. Sabha, you agree with this guilt vote theory?
No, I don't think
Modi
there's a
fall on
vote.
after the Lok Sabha election and suddenly people are now voting for him. This is what a lot of people have spoken
I don't think
about.
there's anything called a guilt vote. People vote. The opposition did not give a correct narrative. If they had done this job thing a year ago, planned messaging, is there a slogan you remember? The only slogan you remember is vote chori, which happened 3 months ago. Then even Tejasvi realized it wasn't working. They had no plan. They had a messed up messaging. That is the problem. They did not have a messed up messaging in Karnataka.
Okay.
They had a good messaging in Telangana. That's when you win. But somehow, and what did they do? They sent this Krishna Allah Guru. Sorry, excuse me, I don't remember the pronunciation of his
Krishna
name.
Allah Guru, that's right.
Whatever his name is. He goes there and half the Congress old guard walks out. Not that they were
Rebels,
anything
they're
great.
sitting in dharna
But he
protesting.
does. He is very territorial. And he will say, I will not accept so many seats. And I
So
will
it's
not,
essentially down to bad
he will
management,
but
not just
he
guilt
has,
votes.
he has the years.
I got your point.
He
Let
has
me
the years of
respond.
Rahul Gandhi. He has the years of Rahul Gandhi. So he gets carte blanche. So the CM face is not. It's a disaster. What happened?
Well, if Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his party colleagues are watching, perhaps they can take some cues from there. But Dr. Raghunathan, it's not a guilt vote. It is purely bad management and bad messaging. That's her view. You agree?
I would disagree, because name me one election that somebody has won purely on narrative. If the truth is not reflected on the ground, you cannot win elections. And whatever narrative, no, one second. You look at Kejriwal, you look at Delhi. You talked about corruption. There was real corruption. You talk about Beaufort, there was real. So every time when election has come up, you look at 2014, inflation was 12 to 14%. Now, यहाँ पे one of the issues was महंगाई. Inflation is 0.3%. People are seeing कि भाई महंगाई नहीं है. So आप कितना भी narrative फैला दो, it's not going to win you votes. The truth is what the people understand. Narrative is what we understand.
Guilt vote, no guilt vote.
No, I don't think so at all. I'll tell you what has surprised me, and maybe you can add a point here as well. Tejasvi in all surveys was seen as the preferred chief ministerial candidate. He was the one who was addressing the single biggest issue of this election.
Can I answer this?
No, he was
Yeah.
also the epitome of the biggest problem that was seen in most surveys as the deciding factor as an issue, which was unemployment. And we had unemployment guarantee, a job per household, and Tejasvi doing that announcement and announced as the
Very
chief
late.
ministerial
And you
candidate.
agree with that?
I think we were late.
No, you
But
agreed with
despite
that.
That's the point. You know why the
Do you
chief
agree with
minister...
that
One
number?
second. You know why
3
the
crore
chief
jobs?
ministerial... Just one second. Why this whole chief ministerial announcement is not important for the chief ministerial face announcement. It's the fact that he started his campaign properly only after that. That's where it's perhaps caused the
I think
NGP.
so. I completely agree.
Okay, Radhika wants to come in. Radhika wants to come in on this. Radhika, your response to Sanjay.
I completely agree with
Yeah, two things. Here we are talking about, I heard simple people talking about Krishna Alavaru. Why are you giving everything to Rahul Gandhi ki he's been fed incorrectly? Akbar was known for his no ratans. So he has to be smart enough to know who his good advisors are. It's Rahul Gandhi's fault. Does he not go to ground? कोई भी आके उनको script दे देता है, वो आके press conference कर देते हैं. He does not check or cross check कि भैया वहाँ पे वो voter card है कि नहीं. अब blame डाल दो Krishna Alavaru. But please, the blame is on Rahul Gandhi. He has no idea of what the country wants. And this narrative that they are running here and there, vote chori ho gayi, then well, vote chori hui hai, then SIR should be there, na?
Okay.
Why
There's
is
one
that
more
not
factor
done?
that I want to very quickly touch because we just have a few minutes left. You know, if I was to ask you, JVC, obviously this is not going to come up in any exit poll or any result, but this also happens to be the first election after Operation Sindhu. How do we quantify whether it's actually had an impact on
100% I need to tell you this. You asked the very right question. I think we have not addressed this big thing. We did a survey, All India survey, and presented it on June 9th, if you remember, after Operation Sindhu. A massive survey we conducted for Times Now. Now, from that time onwards, let's understand Bihar is an important state. There are close to around 7.9% of the army people working in India are from Bihar.
Across services?
Across services.
And police
now,
recruitment is so much in demand.
6.9%.
Okay.
And more importantly, the whole narrative that Narendra surrender, this was something which was not liked by people. Okay, they may have a different opinion.
He also said something about the army. He also said upper caste ruling the army.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
We should have discussed Sindhu at all. In fact, it's an important
these
point.
things are subplots. But the point is, when it comes to the question of nationalism, when it comes to the question of security, Narendra Modi is way ahead of anybody else.
Has the narrative been lost as far as Operation Sindhu is concerned, as he says?
Well, I wasn't aware of it playing a role in this election. I never heard it. But
no, at the time of war, I mean, it just comes to reason given the fact that it's a time of war.
But I do
Passions are very high.
agree with you.
Their nationalist sentiment becomes very high.
I will say one thing very bluntly. that Rahul Gandhi talks about social justice, he talks about representing the poorest, he jumps into a river. Let him try. It's good that he's trying to be energetic, though. But the point is, who are the people who he surrounds? What is the social background? Since he asked the social background of media people, what is the social background of some of the people who are in his inner circle? I will ask it very bluntly.
Yeah.
And I have nothing.
Perhaps Mr. Gandhi should answer that.
I think it's time to ask these questions. Let's not have the hypocrisy now.
No hypocrisy.
Can I add
Operation
one
Sindhu.
point?
Coming one by one. Operation Sindhu.
I don't think the social background is important. I think the intelligence of the people who are surrounding Rahul Gandhi is more important. But on Operation Sindhu, it's an important point you pick up, because this is the one state, Andhra Pradesh is the other, where the state dominant party is important for Narendra Modi at the central level. You see? So I think that is why maybe indirectly Operation Sindhu also had a bearing. That people said, we need stability, we need security. For that, we need to make Modi win and the state party or the regional party win along with Narendra Modi.
Yeah. And it's not an issue on which you can campaign. It's not an issue where you go out and, say it in front of people, but there's just that underlying subtext.
He actually did.
There's just an underlying subtext sometimes.
It was underlying.
There's so much of nationalist spirit.
True.
And perhaps that is what has translated. There's an entire Bihar regiment in the army, for instance.
Yeah. There are multiple regiments which has the caste element into it. Maratha, those kind of stuff.
But I
here,
just feel
you don't have. Bihar is Bihar.
I just feel that state elections are different from the national narrative. But the point that I will add to what Sabha mentioned, because I know a lot of people in the Congress, in all fairness, I don't know Mr. Alaburu very well. I feel the Congress should have had somebody like Sachin Pilot driving the entire election, what Alaburu did. You needed someone who's a seasoned campaigner, who's been part of the electoral system or the entire mechanics of fighting an election.
No, not just part of the electoral system. People who have a track record of winning elections.
Yeah,
because the current advisors don't have that track record.
Therefore, you needed a pilot there.
You have regional satraps who can win elections.
But think about it, Madhav. Sachin Pilot won Rajasthan, the first state that went against the BJP after Mr. Modi's hurricane sweep in 2014. He did that, right? You needed a Sachin Pilot in the thickness of things. You can't put a novice there in Bihar, which is, by the way, in my opinion, one of the most complicated and, it's got its jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Radhika, quick closing comments from Radhika. Radhika, almost out of time. Quick comments, please.
Madhav, this picture of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi that I'm showing you on the screen, his tears, is what has moved the nation today. Whether it was Haryana, whether it was Maharashtra after the Lok Sabha elections, or whether it is Bihar today. Every worker, every person realized कि हमने जो 240 पे रोक दिया भाजपा को, और प्रधानमंत्री जी के लिए आज सब के सब जो नतीजे आए हैं, this is a gift to the Prime Minister.
Okay, the guilt vote theory. We've just discussed that. Radhika, a few moments ago. Perhaps you were not part of the panel at that point of time. But that's certainly, of course, one way of looking at things. Multiple ways of looking at this election. You can always slice and dice the numbers. But one thing is quite clear. It's a tsunami. It's not like any other election that we've seen in recent days. Whatever be the factors, and there will always be a multiplicity of factors. We've just tried to look at various social groups and how things have panned out on ground. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us here in the studio, and from outside, over to an interview of Dharmendra Pradhan with my colleague Navika Kumar.